The wedding day was as beautiful as anyone could have hoped for. My sister, Elizabeth, looked stunning in her designer gown, and Brian, her now husband, wore the happiest smile I had ever seen. The vows were heartfelt, the toasts were touching, and the dance floor was alive with energy. If there was any tension, it was so well hidden that even I missed it. But little did I know, this picture-perfect day would lead to the most shocking and life-changing accusation of my life. The night after the wedding, our family gathered at my parents' house to unwind and share stories from the big day. We were all laughing, recounting funny moments from the dance floor, when Elizabeth stood up, her voice trembling. "John stole our honeymoon money. $10,000, it's gone," she announced dramatically. The room fell silent. For a moment I thought I misheard her. Then I saw it, the anger, the disappointment in everyone's eyes as they turned toward me. "Stole?" I stammered. "That's absurd." Elizabeth continued her tirade, tears streaming down her face. She painted a picture of betrayal, of how she had been sobbing all day, devastated that her own brother would stoop so low. Brian sat frozen, looking like he'd been blindsided by a truck. My parents, however, sprang into action. "How could you do this, John?" my mother asked, shaking her head in disappointment. "You're not welcome here anymore," my father added, his voice heavy with anger. I tried to defend myself, pointing out that I had been at the reception desk the entire evening in full view of everyone. But my words were drowned out by Elizabeth's accusations. Brian, to his credit, seemed unsure. "I don't think John would do something like that," he muttered. "Stop defending him," Elizabeth snapped. "He's lying." The betrayal cut deep. My own sister had branded me a thief, and my parents believed her without hesitation. But as I drove away that night, something clicked. This wasn't about money. It was about something far more sinister. Elizabeth's accusation wasn't random. A few months earlier, our grandmother had revealed her will. She intended to leave most of her inheritance to me, believing I would preserve the family's legacy. Elizabeth, the golden child, was furious. She had tried to manipulate Grandma into changing her mind, but it hadn't worked. Now, with Grandma's health failing, Elizabeth was desperate to discredit me. But I had a secret of my own, one I had kept to protect Brian. Elizabeth had been cheating on him for months. I had no intention of revealing it, but after her false accusations, I realized I had to fight back. If she wanted a war, she would get one. The next Thursday evening, I parked down the street from Elizabeth's house. She had a predictable routine, claiming she was running errands or visiting friends while sneaking off. Sure enough, at 6:45 p.m., she drove off. I followed her discreetly to a coffee shop in the next town. There she met a man I didn't recognize. They hugged, kissed, and acted like a couple on a romantic date. I recorded everything, 7 minutes of undeniable proof. As they left the coffee shop, I captured one last shot of them hugging before driving off separately. My heart raced as I drove home. I had the evidence I needed. Now I just had to wait for the perfect moment. A few days later, I arranged a family dinner under the guise of wanting to clear the air. My parents reluctantly agreed, and Elizabeth eagerly accepted, likely expecting to humiliate me further. But she had no idea what was coming. The tension in the room was palpable as we sat down. I took a deep breath and began. "I've been thinking a lot about everything that's happened," I said. "There's something I need to share, something I've been holding back." Elizabeth leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. She thought I was about to confess. Instead, I opened my laptop and pressed play. The room fell silent as the video played. It showed Elizabeth kissing the man, holding hands and laughing. When the video ended, Brian's face was pale. "Who the hell is that?" he asked, his voice sharp. Elizabeth stammered, "It's not what it looks like." "Not what it looks like?" I interjected. "You accused me of stealing to cover up your own lies. How long has this been going on?" Brian didn't wait for her answer. He stood, his voice shaking with anger. "You've been cheating on me this whole time," he demanded. "While I worked to give you everything, the Maldives trip, the car." Elizabeth's face crumpled. My parents were too stunned to speak. Finally, my mother asked, Elizabeth, is this true? In the days that followed, the family was in disarray. Elizabeth's lies unraveled, and Brian ended their engagement. My parents, still reeling, she mumbled an excuse, but no one believed her. Brian grabbed his keys and walked out. I turned to my parents. You believed her lies without question, I said. Maybe next time you should think twice before casting someone out. In the days that followed, the family was in disarray. Elizabeth's lies unraveled, and Brian ended their engagement. My parents, still reeling, tried to reconcile with me, but their apologies felt hollow. Elizabeth attempted to salvage her reputation by spreading new lies, claiming I had set her up, but Brian shut her down with a public post, exposing the truth. The fallout left Elizabeth isolated, her web of lies finally collapsing. Elizabeth's story didn't end there. Desperate and delusional, she tried to sue me for slander. The case was swiftly dismissed, with the judge reprimanding her for wasting the court's time. Her reputation was in tatters, and she eventually moved away, leaving behind the wreckage of her deceit. Exposing the truth isn't easy, especially when it involves family, but sometimes it's necessary to stand up for yourself and let the facts speak louder than lies. If you enjoyed this roller coaster of betrayal, revenge, and truth, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more jaw-dropping stories. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Trust me, there's more drama where this came from.